The next important thing we need to do with PHP is learn how to handle form processing events. And that's one of the more powerful things we can do with PHP is finally we can take these HTML forms and do something with them. So here's a very, very simple HTML form. And it's not going to look pretty, but it will demonstrate the concept. So you should be familiar with all this HTML, but let me review a little bit of it. Here's the form tag. What we're going to do in the form tag that you haven't done before is probably use the method attribute and the action attribute. Method can be one of two things. It could be post or get. And at some point I'll show you the difference between the two. Post is a little bit more secure, and for most of your applications you should use post, but I'll show you what get does in a subsequent video so you can see the difference. Action is what page we want to send the form to, and this submit.php that I've created is going to handle the form events and take care of them. So I have a couple, I have a name and an email, and they're just input type text. I have a select or a drop down with a couple options in it. I have a very simple text area, and then I have a submit button. But all these are fairly self-explanatory, and then at the very bottom I have a link, but we don't need to know that or do that, but that's fairly easy as well. Let's look at the submit page. Here's my submit page. The submit page, in order to retrieve those variables, we need to access the $_post superglobal. This is another special variable that only exists when we have submitted something via form. And so basically what I'm saying is, hey, let's create a new variable called s. It's going to be a string, and it's going to consist of the contents. This string concatenated to $_post first name. Concatenate some more, a break. Concatenate something else. I retrieve the next thing out of that post variable. Now how am I deciding first name? Well, if you look back on form, if we look at the name attribute of any one of these elements, that's how we retrieve it via the post method. So notice first name and email. There's first name. There's email. If I want to retrieve the color, that's the name of the select attribute. So I can retrieve the color of that select attribute. And other variables if I want. I think there was a class variable. Oh, this is this one. So I can actually send via query string, I can send a variable and retrieve it via, notice the difference there, $_get. So we can send things via get or post in a form. URL string, that always sends via get, and that's quite useful sometimes. And so I am declaring a couple other variables. To, a subject, and a message consists of this above string. And then I'm using the PHP built-in mail function, send an email, and those are the three attributes that it needs, is the to address, the subject, and then the message. And I could have put MSG there, and I probably should have, but let's go ahead and do that. $MSG to send the message. As we load this up, there's my form, very simple. I click, sends it over here. Great, it pulled everything back out just the way we thought it would. I go to my inbox and it said this is my message. It looks like it hasn't got, oh, it did just receive this one. I didn't upload my changes after we said $message, but it did send the message. So that's the end. Thanks.